Hello friends, I made this video for City Report YouTube channel for special, and I really worked on that and it took days. I hope you like it. Then let's start. Are you ready to meet the bridge of the two biggest continents in the world? Turkey, where the west side of the world meets the east side. I'm gonna show you all the natural and artificial beautiful places in Turkey, plus what you should do and what you should not to do in Turkey as a Turkish person. Turkey is peninsula and has located in the northern hemisphere. Peninsula means where is located by water with three sides. There are a lot of mountains, lakes, waterfalls and historical places in Turkey. Also mosques, as you know. If you would like to visit mild and mysterious places, Istanbul has to be your choice. Rather than the beaches, you can find hidden history in Istanbul, also known as Constantinopolis. Hi Sophia. It's said that when the Byzantine Emperor Justinian entered his finished church for the first time in AD 536, he cried out, "Glory to God that I have been judged worthy of such a work. O Solomon, I have outdone you." The Hagia Sophia, formerly the High Sophia, was the emperor's swaggering statement to the world of the wealth and technical ability of his empire. Tradition maintained that the area surrounding the emperor's throne within the church was the official center of the world. Galata Tower. Galata Tower rules over the Istanbul skyline, offering great views of the old city and its surroundings. The tower has been modified over the centuries, at one time being used as an observation tower to spot fires. Today, its upper reaches include a coffee, restaurant, and a nightclub, both reached by elevator in the 9-story building, where one can find the stunning vistas. Basilica Cistern is the largest of several hundred ancient cisterns that lie beneath the city of Istanbul. According to ancient historians, Emperor Constantine built a structure that was later rebuilt and enlarged by Emperor Justinian after the Nika riots of 532, which devastated the city. Cappadocia. Cappadocia is my favorite places in Turkey. You should really must have to visit there. It's like fairy tale. It's like you are living in a fairy tale. There are lots of balloons and amazing views from the sky, and it's really unexpected experience for you. You cannot find anywhere like Cappadocia in the Turkey, also world, I guess. Being in a Cappadocia is like being in a fairy tale. It's lunar-like landscapes and rocks with chimneys above. Many of the sites date back to the 10th, 11th and 12th centuries. There are several fascinating activities to do in your Cappadocia trip. You can take a look at this fairy tale city from both above with the balloons and underground through to ancient city tunnel. These Veron-like cities feature houses, tables, courtyards, and more, connected by an amazing system of tunnels. Antalya. Antalya is where I am studying and living right now. I guess it's the most well-known city after the Istanbul in Turkey. It's also the cheapest tourism attraction in the Europe. You can do lots of things in Antalya with a little bit of money. Antalya is very well-known tourist attraction in Turkey. You can visit Duden waterfalls, long beaches, secret coves, sharp cliffs, palm trees like skyscrapers. Don't forget to bring your hat in summer for healthy visits because of the extreme temperatures. You really have to bring it. It's really hot in the summer. You can go nowhere in the midday. If you like to get surrounded by ancient history, hot sand beaches, and tropical nature, Antalya would be your best choice in a Turkey trip. With its surrounding forests and mountains peppered with ancient Greek and Roman ruins, enchanting waterfalls, and stunning hiking routes, Antalya is both an adventurer's dream and an urban playground. Old Town is a beautiful mixture of ancient structures and renovated Ottoman houses that lead every cobblestone footpath toward a splendid city view from an elevated perch. Walk through Hadrian's Gate, wander along the narrow streets, shooting photos, and up at one of the cafes to enjoy the view from under the shade. From the turquoise waters of Patara to the white sands of Konyaaltı, Antalya's beaches range from overcrowded and excited to scheduled and immersed in nature. Depending on preferences, stay in one of Antalya's luxury resorts or opt for a more scheduled boutique hotel with access minimally inhabited beaches. History. The Antalya Museum, one of Turkey's largest museums, has an impressive collection that fills up its 13 exhibition halls and open-air gallery. Find everything from archaeological finds from the Paleolithic era to beautiful sculptures from the Roman period. Great hiking. This marked walking trail stretches 530 kilometers from Fethiye to Antalya and takes approximately 29 days to trek. Walkers are not only accompanied by beautiful views along the coast, but they also come across 25 historical sites belonging to the Lycian Empire. With its rich history and stunning natural landscape, Antalya is one of the world's most unique summer destinations. From the gloomy grandeur of the Taurus Mountains to scheduled beaches that lead to ancient cities of former empires. Turkish foods. As you know, Turkey is most well known for its foods. We are really rich in terms of food. If you come to Turkey, it's probably you would double your weight in a week or month. You cannot stop eating in Turkey while you are wandering Turkey streets. They are really delicious. Döner, a Turkish classic that has also become a bit of national dish in Germany. Döner kebab comes in many forms including dürüm, döner wrapped in lavash bread, and İskender kebab. Döner on a bed of pide bread with yogurt, tomato sauce, and butter. Lahmacun. Lahmacun, often wrongfully referred to as a Turkish pizza. Lahmacun has nothing to do with the Italian classic. A thin and crispy round of dough is topped with minced seasoned meat, which is complemented with a squeeze of lemon and parsley before. It's rolled up and ready to eat. Kebab. There are many varieties of kebab including Adana and Urfa, spicy and non-spicy, hand-kneaded seasoned lamb meat grilled on skewers. Beyti, ground beef or lamb grilled on skewer, wrapped in lavash bread. Ground beef or lamb grilled on skewer, wrapped in lavash bread and topped with yogurt and tomato sauce. Shish kebab. Shish kebab is skewered and grilled seasoned cubes of lamb or chicken meat. Mantı. Small handmade dumplings filled with minced meat are boiled and then served with yogurt and a sauce made with oil, paprika, mint, and garlic. Balık ekmek. Balık ekmek is a sandwich containing grilled fish, onions, and salad between the bread. Turkish desserts and sweets to get addicted to. Most of you probably know the famous baklavas and Turkish delights, and for some the künefe, but you will see that the Turkish cuisine also offers surprising desserts with pumpkin, cheese, and even chicken breast. In Turkey, dessert is often a social ritual, a course meant to be shared at any time of day or night. Friends can be found congregating to sip Turkish coffee or tea from dainty glasses. And should you care to accompany that beverage with a roll, pastry, or snack, there is much to choose from. Baklava, it's always best eaten fresh. The pastry comes in lots of shapes, size, and flavors. Cevizli baklava included walnut baklava, künefe. This sweet and savory Levantine cheese pastry is hard to avoid in Turkey. You can smell the street vendors frying it up from blocks away. Künefe is made from a stretchy, unsalted, fresh melting cheese called Hatay, found only in this region. Mozzarella would be the closest Western analog. It's time to get to know the Turkish music. We have so much traditional sounds comes from the Middle East and Western combination. You can find the hidden history in Turkish music dates back to the ancient time. The music of Turkey includes mainly Turkish elements as well as partial influences ranging from Central Asian folk music, Arabic music, Greek music, Ottoman music, Armenian music, Persian music, and Balkan music, as well as reference to more modern European and American popular music. Since Turkey is a peninsula, there are 3 seas and oceans such as Black Sea, Aegean Sea, Mediterranean Sea around Turkey, which means you can enjoy swimming in 3 different big oceans and eating the versatile type of Turkish foods. Unlike other countries in Europe, you will come across the conjunction of the traditional East culture with modernist West in Turkey while you are wandering on the streets. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out any city report videos. Thanks for watching, keep safe and healthy. See you in the next video.
Did you know that Istanbul, where the European and Asian continents met and hosted various empires, is one of the important cities in the world. With airports in Turkey's largest city of Istanbul on both sides of the city are within easy reach. Are you curious about the history that makes Istanbul, home to many cultures, so important? So let's get started. The first settlement in Istanbul dates back to the Greek colonies of Megaras in the 7th century BC. However, in the excavation carried out today, remains were found up to the Polish Stone Age 8,500 years ago. You can see the artifacts found in these excavations in the Istanbul Archaeology Museum. Emperor Constantine the Great put the capital of the Eastern Romania in Constantinople to be named after him, and built a city from scratch according to Roman zoning. Thanks to its geopolitical location, the city has developed rapidly in terms of trade and culture in a short time. During the Latin occupation in the 1200s, the city was devastated and many historical monuments were taken from the city. By the year 1453, the city's second capital of the Ottoman joined to the empire by Mehmet has been declared, and Turkey have continued to capital duty until the full establishment of the Republic in 1923. Now that we have learned the history of the city briefly, we can start our tour route. It is useful to start the route with the historical peninsula, also known as Suriçi, which is the most important touristic point of the city and where many historical monuments and structures are located. The entire peninsula surrounded by the Marmara Sea, the Golden Horn, and the Bosphorus was declared a Quetzal archaeological, first-degree archaeological and urban historical site in 1985. Sultanahmet. Let's take a look at the most important attraction point in the peninsula. Sultanahmet Square is a square where Hagia Sophia, Blue Mosque, and Topkapı Palace are located. This square contains a part of the old hippodrome, and in its historical places in the square, Dikili Taş, also known as Theodosius, Yılanlı Sütun, and knitted obelisk are exhibited. Golden Horn. It is another must-see place in the impressive peninsula with its view of the Golden Horn and surrounding structures. You can isolate yourself from the crowd of the city by walking on the Galata Bridge on the Golden Horn. You can climb the Pierre Loti Hill, named after the French writer Pierre Loti, via the cable car over Eyüp. You can watch the Istanbul panorama by drinking tea, which is one of the symbols of Istanbul. Hagia Sophia. You should definitely see the Hagia Sophia Mosque, which has been used in many different functions in history, which caused the most controversy among the buildings in the square. Hagia Sophia is actually a church built 3 times in history. However, the first 2 was destroyed when it was built, and the last construction that reached today was made in 533, and it served as a church until 2nd Mehmet conquered Istanbul. Hagia Sophia, which continued to use mosques until 1932, was brought into museum status this year. However, it was turned into a mosque again in July 2020. If the works in Hagia Sophia are examined briefly, it is seen that the Doesis mosaic, one of the most important works of mosaic art, is found here. In addition, Constantine and Justinianus' mosaic can be seen towards the exit of Hagia Sophia. In this mosaic, it is seen that Constantine and Justinian dedicate their works to the Mass of Christ in the form of a model. Topkapı Palace. The palace, which was started to be built when Fatih Sultan Mehmet conquered Istanbul and was completed in 1478, has been the administrative center of the state and the house of the sultans for 400 years of the 600-year Ottoman history. The harem section of the palace, which started to be used as a museum with the proclamation of the Republic, is the most desired point to be visited by tourists. Apart from this, Hırkayı Sherif, which is very important in terms of Islamic values, is hidden and exhibited in this place. If you are someone interested in the palace and palace intrigue, that will catch your attention is Drawn Magnificent Century series in Turkey. When you leave the palace, you can visit Gülhane Park for a short break. Sultanahmet Mosque. Sultanahmet Mosque, whose domes are decorated with Maya-weighted pencilworks and Iznik tiles and which is known as Blue Mosque by Europeans, was built by architect Sedefkar Aya in 1600s. In 1932, when Hagia Sophia became a museum, it became the main mosque of Istanbul. Süleymaniye. In the settlement, which is located on the third hill of Istanbul and on the slope of this hill overlooking the Golden Horn, there's the Süleymaniye Mosque, one of the important works of the 16th century, which Mimar Sinan described as his journeyman work. Süleymaniye, a complex built in the name of Süleyman the Magnificent in the 1550s, includes a madrasa, library, hospital, bathhouse, and mosque. Grand Bazaar. It is the world's largest covered bazaar and one of the oldest bazaars in the center of Istanbul, near Beyazıt. There are 4,000 shops in the bazaar and can accommodate 500,000 people at the same time. You can find various spices, jewelry, woven carpets, and many souvenirs in the Grand Bazaar, which is one of the most important touristic spots. I recommend you to take a short break by drinking Turkish coffee in various cafes in the bazaar. Karaköy. Karaköy is a district that has been revived with its newly opened cafes in recent years. Especially in the evenings, you can stroll through the lively streets of Karaköy and discover the shops where designers' products are exhibited. Karaköy Çorbacısı and Karaköy Güllüoğlu are the most important places to visit in Karaköy. You can eat a variety of Turkish baklava in Güllüoğlu. Galata. Considered among the oldest towers in the world and one of the symbols of Istanbul, Galata Tower was included in the UNESCO World Heritage Temporary List in 2013. In the 17th century, Hazarfen Çelebi tried to fly in Galata Tower, which is one of the most important structures that make up the silhouette of Istanbul. While exploring the Galata Tower and its surroundings, you will admire the historical buildings. Taksim. Taksim is where the heart of Istanbul beats. Taksim Square has been on the country's agenda throughout the history with various political events. Istiklal Street is a historical street with important historical buildings. There's the French consulate at the beginning of the street. You will see Galatasaray High School when you continue along the street with the music of street artists. This is the middle of Istiklal Street. You can see Rumeli, Aleppo, and Atlas passages on the street. But wait for Czech Passage to sit somewhere. In this beautiful passage, you can experience the Turkish tavern culture and drink raki. Balat. While you are in and around the Golden Horn, you can stop by Balat, where the minority population lives, and see the streets bearing traces of history. While you are in Balat, you can see the Fener Greek Patriarchate, which is accepted as the world patriarch by the Orthodox. Due to its outer color, it is highly likely that you might confuse the patriarch with Fener Greek Boys High School. The large dome in the middle of the high school will help you understand the difference between the two. While wandering the streets of Balat, you will see antique shops and cafes with different concepts. Kadıköy. You can reach Kadıköy from the European side by ferry. You can take a short walking tour in Kadıköy Rıhtım. During the walk, you can see Haydarpaşa Station, Eminönü and Beşiktaş ferry ports. You can enjoy Kadıköy by sitting at the cafe on the upper floor of Eminönü ferry port. The artist and the young population in Kadıköy is quite high. Street artists enliven the walls of the city by making magnificent wall graffiti. When you climb up the pier, you will see the famous bull statue. The bull statue is the meeting point for Kadıköy. The street following Boğa is Bahariye Street, and it is the busiest street in Kadıköy. There are various shops, eating and drinking places along the way. You can wear your headphones and go for a stroll on Bahariye Street, which is a long street towards Moda Sahil. Moda Sahil is an ensemble place for Kadıköy. You can stroll around Moda Sokaklar, which is a residential neighborhood, or you can sit and sip your coffee. You can love our animal friends on the beach. You can drink tea in the Moda Tea Garden and watch the children in the park next to it. You can reach Caddebostan by continuing the Moda Beach. Here you can sit on the grass and drink beer. After sipping your drinks, you can take a small stroll on Bağdat Street, which is located on the upper street of the beach and is home to luxury brands. Prince Islands. Büyükada, Heybeliada, and Burgazada are important focal points for tourists. You can take photos while wandering around the streets of the island, observing the historical houses among the flowers. Before diving into the streets, you should buy ice cream from one of the famous island ice cream shops. The Greek orphanage in Büyükada, the largest of these islands, has burnt down in recent years. The historical building is in danger of extinction. Another important building is Ayayorgi Church. This church was built in 1751. The church on the top of the island has a magnificent view. After climbing the Ayayorgi slope, you can relax and enjoy the view at the restaurant located here.
Hello and welcome to another episode of City Report. This is Öykü, your local host from Istanbul, Turkey, and today we're gonna travel through Istanbul together. Let's first see Turkey on the map, and you can have an idea of where to locate it and how cultures here are affected geographically, because our geopolitical position gave us a lot of cultural impact. It is located between Asia and Europe and even Africa maybe, and it is sitting on the ancient trade routes of Silk Road and Spice Road. And we also had a lot of sea travel, naval travel, air travel in the modern times, and a lot of travel through land. So as you know, when there is trade, there is a lot of cultural merging. Different cultures bring different goods to your land, and they also bring their behavior. So Turkey is a place where so many different cultures come together, and we call it a mosaic of different cultures, because we know that so many ancient cultures have lived on this land for thousands of years. Even in Istanbul, a cave has just been found to have 400,000 years of history, of human history. So it is very interesting to me, because now it is a city of 17 million skyscrapers, very modern, but you can trace human history 400,000 years in Istanbul and around Turkey in general. Usually, when people think of this land, they don't really think about the sea or the mountain view or the ancient cultures that has been living here. But it is a very rich country with culture, food, landscape, art, anything you can find. Today we're only doing Istanbul, so let's jump to Istanbul and have a tour of this big city together. I'm very happy, especially to host you on City Report right now, because usually when my friends come over to Istanbul, they find it very chaotic and they don't really understand where it starts and where it ends. So I'm happy to show you different gems and local sites from the city. There is this saying that they call it chaos, we call it home, and I totally agree. There is this orderly chaos going on in my city, in my hometown, and although we're used to it, people who travel through it sometimes don't really understand how to do things right, so it is always good to have a local person help you out. First thing to start with, I'm gonna start our tour from the Asian side, both because it is where I live and also because one thing about Istanbul when foreigners visit here is that they usually stick to the European side and they don't visit the Asian side, which makes them miss the great boat ride between the two continents and the great Bosphorus view. Usually, my friends ask me if they need a passport to cross or if they need any permission, anything like that, but it has nothing to do with that. You just go to the pier, the ferry landing, and you just take a ticket for like €1, maybe not even €1, and you take a 20-minute very short boat ride in between the two continents. Turkish people use this a lot to go to work, to go to their home, to just like walk around, see the Bosphorus, see the sea. It is a very common method of transportation here, so I would love you to try that out. For that reason, we're starting our tour from the Asian side, from one of the centers of Istanbul called Kadıköy. And in this part, you will see a lot of bookstores, old record stores, antique stores, live streets where you can see so many different people getting together. Anywhere you look will be like a photo frame, because you can see some story there. You can see opposites existing together, opposite kind of people, opposite kind of architecture. It's just a very rich place in Istanbul. It also has two of my favorite cinemas. One of them is called Rex and the other is called Kadıköy Cinema. They are both old cinemas and they're just cinemas, which is something I like, because nowadays we have cinemas just in like shopping malls or anything like that, but these places exist as cinemas, which is very important to me since I'm a filmmaker. And we also have an opera house, which is also old, and I really like spending time there too. Usually a good day for me spent in Kadıköy is where I grab a book from a bookstore, maybe an old bookstore, because here we also have these old bookstores a lot, like second-hand, fifth-hand books, and record stores. So I would pick a book, a record, and sit at a cafe. We have so many cafes here, both because Turkish coffee is very famous and also because it's just a casual stopover. And I just drink some coffee, like watch people, observe people, read my book, and then meet my friends at night. Kadıköy is also very alive at night, and if you would like to go for dinner or like some casual hangout, you would have two options. One would be to go to a local bar where you can either catch a famous Turkish band or an artist, or just like an artist that is just starting out, and one of the bars just give them some space to get their audience. If you feel experimental, you should do that and like discover some really good musicians. Or the second would be a Rakı and Balık night, where raki is our national alcoholic drink, which has 40% alcohol. So you should be careful with it. It is very strong. You can either drink it by adding water next to it or just like without any water, but you shouldn't drink too much if you're not used to it. We usually have this dinner table with some raki, some meze, which is like an appetizer, with hot appetizers, and then some fish coming after, and then some desserts. You listen to music, you either talk about your sorrows or your happinesses. There's not really in between. People usually get very emotional and they listen to their favorite music and they get together with their friends. We do that once or twice a week. Usually, it is very common to have a rakı balık night among locals, and I would definitely advise you to try it out. You could do it in Kadıköy, or you can follow my trail now, and you can do it in the European side as well. For the itinerary I created for you, we start out our day in Kadıköy, but we cross with the boat to the European side. You have several options to cross to when you take the boat. You can go to Beşiktaş, which is another center. You can go to Karaköy, and you can go to Eminönü. And you can also take a boat ride along Bosphorus, which will take you towards the second bridge. There are 3 bridges in Istanbul, and this will take you up to the second bridge, and this will show you the whole coast of Bosphorus with very old mansions, villas, old Ottoman palaces, because as you know that Turkey is the modern version of Ottoman Empire. When Ottoman Empire collapsed, the modern Turkey has been born after several wars, after the First World War. So here you will see so many of the Ottoman palaces as well. If you have some time, this is a touristic thing to do, but you can take that boat and you can enjoy the Bosphorus view for an hour. You will like it. If you don't, I advise you to go to the ferry landing and take just like a €1 ticket and cross from the Asian side to the European side. We are going from Kadıköy to Karaköy, which is another local center where people hang out a lot. But when people come to Istanbul, they obviously prioritize the historical part of the city, the historical island. And you should definitely do that. I'm not talking about it here because this is a locals guide and I don't want to tell you what everybody else tells you. But let's make a small parenthesis for the ancient sites. If you would like to see them, you should take the boat from Kadıköy to Eminönü. Eminönü is the place where you will see all these historical places. First one is Ayasofya, which is both a church and a mosque, and later it became a museum. When you enter, you will see Muslim symbols coexisting with Christian symbols. And I think this is a very impressive part of the city because it shows that 2 different, very opposite or very similar cultures, however you call it, can exist peacefully together, and this is very important to me. Right in front of it, you will see Blue Mosque, which people know a lot as the symbol of Istanbul. But as I told you, there are so many things going on in Istanbul to call it a symbol. The third would be the Topkapı Palace, which is one of the biggest palaces of Ottoman history. You can see old harem buildings, old Ottoman rooms. It is very rich, very alive, and you will like it. There is a park around it too, so you can have some nature with you. When you follow that trail, you will get to the archaeology museum, and that place is also very, very rich since Turkey has a lot of rich ancient history. So I definitely recommend you to check that out as well. Don't let it slip. You should see it. And when you come back towards the central, you will get to a place called Yerebatan Cistern. Sometimes tour programs don't put that in their tours, or tourists sometimes miss it because it is located below the ground. Like, it is an underground cistern where the water storage of the old city was located. So it is very interesting, and there is a Medusa statue on one of the pillars holding the cistern right below the city. And I think that's a very interesting sight too. Next to the cistern, there is a thing called the Million Stone, and it is also a little invisible, like you have to pay attention to see it. But it is very important because it signifies that Istanbul used to be like the Greenwich of Roman Empire, because we had the Roman Empire ruling over in Turkey and in Istanbul for hundreds of years, and Istanbul was the capital of East Roman Empire, and they just made the city very beautiful, and they put all these things that signify that it is a central place for Roman Empire. If you walk around, you will see so many different artifacts, ancient sites. So Eminönü and the historical part is a must see. But let's move on and let's get off from this boat ride in Karaköy. While you are going from Kadıköy to Karaköy by boat, the first interesting thing you will see will be this train station, the old train station called Haydarpaşa train station. It's very beautiful. It's an architectural gem and it has a lot of history. And then you should order some Turkish tea, by the way. Once you're on the boat, you can also go for Turkish coffee, anything you like. The road takes 20 minutes and it has magnificent views, so you should enjoy it as much as you can. We also have this thing called simit, which people eat themselves and feed the seagulls together, so you should definitely try that out. Seagulls love people in Istanbul. They are very friendly, so you should try that. You will see the Maiden's Tower, which is also an ancient place. It has some old history about a princess living on that little island by herself, and now we have obviously, like, through the years it's changed a bit, and now it is a restaurant, so you can try that place as well. Moving on, while approaching Karaköy, you will see a big tower. It is called the Galata Tower, and it is from 1300s, so it is several hundreds of years old, and it is a very important part of the city, again, for the trade relations with Italy and Europe. Also, there is this legend that a guy who's called Evliya Çelebi, who wanted to jump from that part of the city, from that huge tower, with wings, and he tried to fly over Bosphorus from Europe to Asia, and I don't know if that's true, but it is a story. Once you get off in Karaköy, there are two options to go up the hill, because Istanbul has a lot of hills, and where we're going from Karaköy ferry is called Taksim. It is, you probably have seen the photos of Istiklal Street. It has this famous red tram, and it is like very crowded. It is a narrow street, but it has a lot of people walking around. So this is where we're trying to go. Before we do that, I recommend you to get some börek and some Turkish tea or Turkish coffee. In Karaköy, around the ferry landing, you will see so many börek shops. It is this Turkish pastry. You can have it cheese, potatoes, meat, vegetables, whatever, but it's just like a nice appetizer for a stopover, and you should do that. Once you finish your food, we have two options to go from Karaköy to Istiklal Street. One is a tram. It is the second oldest tram in the world, and it will take you like 2 minutes to go up. And the second is to walk around Karaköy a little bit, walk up towards the Galata Tower, where you can get right next to the tower, and then continue walking up a street filled with musical instrument shops, and walk up towards the Istiklal Street. I prefer the second one because Karaköy is famous with the Modern Art Museum located there, the Pera Museum, and it used to be a very international center in the 1920s. It hosted many embassies, many international hotels, And if you know about the Orient Express, which is this train route going from Europe until Egypt, I think, I'm not sure, until Iraq maybe. And it is this old train route which I really really enjoy. It brought people from Europe to Istanbul in 1920s, 1930s, 50s, and they usually ended up at this Pera Palace Hotel, which is one of the landmarks of Istanbul and which is one of my favorite places. If you have some time, you should go there to get a tea, a cocktail, some food. It has a beautiful restaurant. It is a place where Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, who is the founder of modern Turkey, have stayed, and then Greta Garbo, Ernest Hemingway, reporting on the First World War in Turkey, have stayed there. Agatha Christie, the famous writer, stayed at a hotel right across Pera Palace, but she has a room dedicated to her in Pera Palace, and this has some story as well. Atatürk also has a museum room in Pera Palace, so I definitely recommend you to visit this hotel museum. And then you can walk up towards Istiklal Street, which is very famous with the red tram and all the embassies and art galleries, cultural centers, exhibitions, people making music on the street, the German patisserie, and some old bookstores again, which hold, this one is my favorite. It is called Denizler Bookstore, and it holds many ancient travelers' books and travelers' items. So many items from the Orient Express, from Pera Palace, so many interesting things. So I definitely recommend you to walk all the Istiklal Street, and just look around, watch people, observe everything, because it is again a very diverse place. You will see many tourists, you will see Arabic tourists as well as European tourists, local Turkish people, people selling food. It is just photographs everywhere, you know, it is the city of opposites. So you should just get lost and you should just see where this city takes you. Once you walk around a little bit, I recommend you to walk down towards the sea, because I want to show you so many things, but you don't have to do all of these in one day. But if you walk down, you will be walking towards dinner now around this time, and we have this place called Arnavutköy, famous with its small, like mansion like old houses, like 3-4 floors. Very different from whatever you will see in Istanbul. They are looking over Bosphorus. There is a very beautiful walking trail along Bosphorus, so you should definitely walk along that path. You can go there by car, by bus, by bike, anything you want as well. You should just walk along it, and then you can get to a fish restaurant. There are many fish restaurants located on this side. And here I recommend you to do a rakı table with some appetizers, with some Turkish rakı. Rakı is the Turkish version of uzo or rakia from Balkans. And have some fish, have some dessert, just treat yourself to this good food, because you will be looking at a mesmerizing view, and just end your day. Just watch the sunset, look at the bridge that connects Europe to Asia, look at all the people walking around you. You will probably be sitting on the second or third floor. And you can just watch everything, like small fishermen fishing, or like big vessels going from, you know, China to Brazil, crossing Bosphorus. There is a lot to gaze upon and enjoy food while you do that. So I hope you enjoy my city, and I hope you enjoy walking around. If you need anything else, or if you have further questions, please write it below. And I wish you a great day.